So this is Algebra 1, Semester 2. It's the second unit called Two Variable Data. It's called Statistics Light in my mind, but it's two variable data. This is the second lesson on box and whisker plots and histograms practice, but most of this is on box and whisker plots because they are quite useful, and it just gives you sort of the basics and starts to explain the different parts of a box and whisker plot, all right? And for future instructions, copy the following problems into your composition book on the correct pages according to the table of contents with the notes for those pages from creatormath.com. Since it's algebra, it's under the algebra tab, and make sure you're putting in the notes too to explain a lot of what we're going to talk about in these problems. All right. In the diagram below, what is shown? There should be an N right there. What is shown? So they're literally just saying, what is this type of data representation device? And this is a box and whisker plot. And sometimes you'll hear me mispronounce it, but I'm supposed to be saying box and whisker plot right there, right? So pretty simple on a lot of these questions. Some get a tiny bit more difficult, but otherwise it's just orienting you to the shape and to the to this form of graphic for data. So this one says in the diagram below, what is A? So there's different things labeled here. There's point A, B, C, D, and E. The box and whisker plot represents all of the important aspects of our data for most uses. This one here, A, is all the way to the left. This thing underneath is a number line, and we're going down here. This is the lowest value, right? And so then when they jump here, if this is the lowest value, when they jump across to E over here, you're going to jump up to probably the highest value, right? Just to see this thing kind of makes sense intuitively. In the diagram below, what is B? So now B is the point here, and notice there's another point D across from it, and then a point C here in the middle. B is the lower quartile value of the data set. So the cool thing about the box and whisker plot is it divides your data up into quarters. There's a quarter here, quarter here, quarter here, and a quarter here. And of course, 4 quarters is the total set of data. There may be an outlier. An outlier would be something way out in the middle of nowhere, right? Outliers like way outside of the data kind of thing. But this package, the box and whisker plot, helps isolate everything. Notice that it shows you the relative lengths of the quarters, right, in terms of the number line underneath. This quarter down here is quite long and stretched out, and that just means your data is kind of stretched out over this distance. In the diagram below, what is C? C is the point right here. C is the mean of the data set. Another name for mean is average. So all the data in this set is averaged on this point right here in the middle, or this line in the box and whisker plot diagram. In the diagram below, what is D? So if this is the mean, this is the middle of the data, right? It represents the center line of this thing, so to speak, in terms of data. Then now if we move forward 1 quarter, D is going to be the upper quartile value of the data set, upper quarter. So they're starting in the middle going upper quarter. This would be the upper half, right? This would be the lower quarter and the lower half of the data. So we're going to say upper quartile value of the data set is this point right here. So this represents the upper, this whole thing's the quarter above the half, right? They call it the upper quartile. In the diagram below, what is E? E is this one all the way up here. If we knew that this was the lowest value A, then this value up here is going to be the highest value of the data. So this is the highest value of the data set. And a set of data is just points all over the place. This device groups them into understandable components for us to now use in analysis of what the data means. In the diagram below, what's the name of AB and DE? So AB here is this segment, line segment from geometry, right? It's a point and a straight line between them, but a line would have an arrow in both directions. This is a segment, line segment, because of the beginning and the ending points. So here they have DE. What are these two parts of our box and whisker plot? These are the whiskers. So, I don't know, I used to draw a picture of a cat on the board for my students right here in the middle, and they would, the cat had whiskers going out right on either side. And that kind of helps to understand what those parts are of the graph. In the diagram below, what does the box represent? So the interquartile range. So here's the box inside the box and whisker. If this is the mean in the center, then this point here and this point here, this is 1/4 down and 1/4 up. So they call it the interquartile range because it's the quarters closest to the center. Right? The quarters that are closest on either side of the center of the data. And 1/4 of the data represent 25% of the entire data set. So that's what a quarter is. And a quartile is just another way of saying a quarter. In the diagram below, what is F? So this is F way down here. If you can direct your attention down there. This is a number line. So by putting the box and whisker plot on top of a number line, we now can quantify these distances. We can know how far this is. And notice this distance is longer than this distance, which is longer than this distance, and this is a different distance too. All of that gives us information about where this data is spaced out and what we're dealing with. In the diagram below, what is G? So G is the name of the box and whisker plot. Always you're going to have these different components. Each of these make up the full set. You need a title to this thing. This is the title of the box and whisker plot. Once again, this is statistics light because all it's doing is orienting us to this device called a box and whisker plot so that when we actually go to use it, we have an understanding of kind of what everything means when we're looking at this picture. So given the box and whisker plot below, which set of data is represented? So interestingly, we're looking for a mean of 5, right? Looks like an average there. We're also looking for a lower number. This is the lowest value, and this is the highest. So I'm going to focus on those first. I'm looking for the -2 is the lowest. Does this have a -2? Yes, but look, it also has a -3. So this is out. This does not have a -2. This does not have a -2. So I'm on this one. But look, -2 is your lowest. 16 is your highest. If I added all these up, 2, 4, 6, 8, and divided by 8, I would get the mean right here. And it probably plays out that these are the quarters too, but mainly that's the easiest way to see that this is this data set. So you're going to find this on creatormath.com under the Algebra tab, under the unit on 2 variable data.